We're joining with our county executive and leadership council under Teresa Kell Smith and Councilman Will and myself, joining with our great county executive, Rich Fitzgerald, to talk about moving forward with conversations, investigations of the annexation of Wilkinsburg. And so we're going to do this in pretty much two parts. First of all, we're going to ask our great county executive, Rich Fitzgerald, to speak. After that, Tracy Evans, who is the head of the Wilkinsburg CDC, and then following that, we from the city, myself, President Smith first, myself, and we go around, will give our comments on that. But first, our great county executive.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you, Councilman. I want to thank you for your leadership on this issue and your work. And I also want to thank President Kell Smith for her leadership as well, and the folks coming together, Councilman Coghill, people working together. These aren't easy things to do. And particularly, I think right in the middle of it, obviously, is Councilman Burgess, because his district abuts Wilkinsburg. And we know the challenges many of our municipalities in Allegheny County have, but none more stark right now than Wilkinsburg, and we'll be talking about that later in the post-agenda that the City Council is going to be having. But I do think it's really about coming together and improving the lives of both communities, both the City of Pittsburgh and the community of Wilkinsburg, and improving the economic output, the future for the kids and for the families who've invested for so long. And it doesn't happen without a lot of hard work, a lot of sometimes disagreements, but sometimes people coming together and being willing to work together and do the things that they need to do. So I want to thank the councilman for his leadership and everybody for, we're going to spend this time making it work, and then obviously next year being able to move forward and give the folks of Wilkinsburg ultimately the choice of how they want to move forward. So I guess Tracy is next. Tracy Evans from the CDC. Tracy.
Thank you, Rich. Good afternoon. I want to thank Reverend President Teresa Kell Smith and all of the Pittsburgh City Council for their consideration of an annexation referendum, which would allow Wilkinsburg voters to decide to become part of the city. We appreciate your vision and your leadership. Under the leadership, the City of Pittsburgh has made great strides in support of homeowners, small businesses, and strong neighborhoods. Conversely, Wilkinsburg has experienced significant population loss, as well as a decrease in businesses right next door, with low-income homeowners and Black residents being hit the hardest. We all want Wilkinsburg to grow, to be prosperous for every resident and business, to be successful and to be sustainable. Annexation by the City of Pittsburgh is the key to allowing Wilkinsburg to prosper and grow. We look forward to working with Reverend Burgess and all of Pittsburgh City Council on this transformative and historic referendum. Our work demonstrates that annexation of Wilkinsburg with the City of Pittsburgh will result in improved services and opportunities with no reduction of finances or services to the city. We can continue this work to answer the many questions related to the consolidation of this size, while we first and foremost seek to ensure the benefits to all of our residents. That this should be a win-win for the City of Pittsburgh, for Wilkinsburg, and for the region. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I want to begin by thanking our residents, thanking Wilkinsburg Borough Council, and thanking our City Council for working together. And I really want to acknowledge our County Executive, Rich Fitzgerald. If it had not been for his leadership, we would not be here today, because it was his desire and his belief that this was the best interest of Pittsburgh. I'm not convinced, and I'll be honest, I've not committed my vote, but I have committed to a process that we have outlined today a little bit on City Council, and we will continue. This will be a council-led process moving forward. And we will engage the public, and we will engage the other elected officials in the school districts. This affects a lot of people, and I want to make sure that people understand the southwest of the river and the north side of Pittsburgh also have a vested interest in this. What we also will see is an investment from our side of forward. We need to make sure that we're maintaining our areas and keeping residents that are the middle class of the city of Pittsburgh in the city of Pittsburgh. You can't say that we're getting new residents while we're pushing out other residents. Our job is to make sure that we're retaining all residents while growing Pittsburgh. And so that's the part that I'll be interested in seeing happen. But I will appoint Councilman Lavelle to oversee this process, working with Councilman Burgess, who will be the lead, and some other members I'll be making sure. Thank you. And let me just say what I forgot, I have to say, Councilman Calkin has been a believer in this from the beginning. We fought a lot, and had it not been for Joanna Dobin and Marita Garrett, Marita who helped Joanna on the press release, but Joanna Dobin suggested to me, why don't you bring everything together? So I did, her suggestion, so thank you.
So I want to share my somewhat formal remarks. I believe that the annexation of Wilkinsburg, and I've said this previously, can be compared to a wedding. The borough of Wilkinsburg, as a bride, is joining the family of the city of Pittsburgh. The groom is Pittsburgh's 9th Council District, which I represent, communities including East Hills, Homewood, Rushton, and Park Place, that directly abut the borough. Speaking on behalf of the groom, I believe a period of courtship or engagement is necessary and beneficial before the union is consummated. After much research, prayer, and consideration, I am now completely convinced that the annexation of the borough of Wilkinsburg would be beneficial to both Pittsburgh and Wilkinsburg. Pittsburgh will benefit from the increased population, land, and income, while Wilkinsburg will benefit from reduced taxes, better public services, and potential economic development. In some ways, the annexation has already begun. The city already collects Wilkinsburg trash, fights Wilkinsburg fires, and Wilkinsburg parents send their middle and high school children to Pittsburgh public schools. The union has already occurred in many ways, even personally. My brother is a longtime resident of Wilkinsburg. My wife's best friend is a Wilkinsburg resident. Members of my church are Wilkinsburg residents, and I fill up my gas every day at a Wilkinsburg gas station. Yet I will not support the current annexation petition before City Council. Instead, in partnership with my City Council colleagues, led by Councilman Lavelle, under the direction of Council President Smith, I intend to participate in an investigative effort over the next 6 months to evaluate, document, and publicize the advantages of annexation and garner public support for the annexation. We must thoroughly investigate the consequences for the school board, the water authorities, while also considering anti-gentrification and anti-displacement measures. A Pittsburgh City Council-led collaborative process will include all stakeholders, including both Wilkinsburg and Pittsburgh elected officials, Wilkinsburg and Pittsburgh's for-profit and nonprofit corporations, Wilkinsburg and Pittsburgh's residents, and Allegheny County's county chief executive. After council's formal investigation and thorough public participation, approximately 1 year from now, in 2023, if brought before me, I will vote in favor of Wilkinsburg annexation and encourage Wilkinsburg residents to approve it in their May 2023 primary referendum. This future annexation, after a necessary and collaborative courtship and engagement, can be a joyful occasion, a marriage based upon shared efforts and trusted relationship and mutual benefits. And I also want to thank Anthony Colquitt, who is my running buddy and my friend, and we've had long conversations, and he will also be part of this process. We're going to reach out to all stakeholders, but I really do believe personally the time has come for us to work together to enlarge our city and welcome a new bride, the borough of Wilkinsburg. And next we have our city controller, my friend and my brother, Michael.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here today. And let me first just say thank you to Pittsburgh City Council for really allowing this conversation to continue. This is a conversation that is important. It is historic, and it's necessary. If we as a region are going to remain competitive, we have to encourage these conversations, not just here in Pittsburgh and Willingsburg, but around all of Allegheny County, and that's happening. We're seeing it in terms of mutual aid, consolidated services, what we've seen with respect to issues like sewer regionalization, police departments combining, EMS services that have downsized because they've all consolidated their services. These are important, historic conversations, and I'm certainly glad to take a part in this. My friend, Reverend Burgess, compares it to a marriage, and I agree with that completely. I would only suggest to him that after courting for 40 years, it's time to pop the question. And so I encourage this conversation and look forward to future of great cooperation with these two communities and hopefully something better for our residents moving forward. That's what it's about. Improving public service and municipal service to all of our residents, regardless of where our boundaries are. And that's what this conversation is about. Thank you very much.
Okay, before we end, is there any brief comment, questions for any of our panelists? Pardon me? Yeah, one of the, is
You
there,
read Marita's name.
Marita, what is this one?
I said
Marita, especially for staff and, really gifted, person. Is there a few questions that you would have?
Yes, this release does say that council or leaders will vote yes on a full merger this time next year. It sounds like you're promising a vote next year. How can you be so certain, at least according to this, that it will be a yes?
Yes.
I guess what I'm saying is, and I think if you read the release carefully, what it really says that there are members of council who will vote yes. I being one of them, and I think Anthony Pelican being one of them, Corey O'Connor being one of them, and
Councilwoman Smith is undecided.
so I think there are, I am not suggesting that majority council today, well, the majority council today will have and will vote no to the current process. However, I believe after, I'm being prophetic, but on my other hand, I believe that after a thorough investigation, after conversations with the residents of Willingsburg, a conversation with the residents of Pittsburgh, a thorough conversation which has already begun with Wilkinsburg City Council. I received a letter from the mayor of Wilkinsburg even today, wanting to have this same conversation, agreeing that the conversation is important and valuable. I believe at the conclusion of that conversation, the time frame for us is council will do a 6-month process. After our 6-month process, I suspect, I don't know, but I suspect that Wilkinsburg will do their petition process, and around the same time this year, and will come back to us, and I am optimistic. I will vote yes, unless, without any major bombshells, I intend to vote yes, and I think the majority of the council will vote yes at that time.
Based on the conversations that took place at the council table just before this news conference, I wanted to clarify, council's looking to establish creating a special committee that will explore this with council members and others. The discussion at council table seemed to indicate that council is driving this process forward. CDC has been an advocate and may wind up collecting petitions, but this is now in the city council now?
It is very clear, the law of annexation, first of all, they come together. We've, together with under council presidency, we've looked at all the other situations, and we've been informed that legally we cannot merge with Wilkinsburg, that the borough cannot merge with the second-class city. So the only way this marriage can happen is through annexation, right? We've already now formally received an annexation. We showed their interest. The bride has said, we really much would like to marry you. And so the process is a city council. City council is the only city vote on this. So council now will spend a year in a formal investigation of this matter led by city council and city council members. At the conclusion of that session, that process, that will conclude our first phase. If somebody, and it doesn't have to be CC, but some group of Wilkinsburg residents form a petition and present that to the court, and then a judge brings us back an annexation petition, we will act on it. We are not inviting, we're not telling them to do so. We're simply saying that our part is, we're going to spend the next 6 months getting all the facts And some of us on council will say, and I'm saying this publicly, if the bride still wants me, if the bride still wants me, you know, a year from now, I'm willing to say yes. And so that's the process that we've laid out today. Hopefully it's been clear. But yes, under President Smith and the leadership of Lavelle and my helping a little bit, this will be, moving forward, a council-led effort over the next 6 months, at least, council lead effort.
And during this backgrounding process, will it be transparent for the jobs that are currently in the borough, such as the school jobs, whether it's K or city, for the boroughs, fire department, is that going to be transparent for where those will fall?
Well, as a council, all of our processes are public. So you're going to see a variety of things happening. Post-Gazette has written its editorials, its opinion about what should happen in terms of, you know, in any reapportionment moving approach to state whole, that, you know, everybody should be guaranteed to get a job in the merger, and that any task force, I think, from memory, stays with. I think that's the three things the editorial board suggested. I don't disagree with that, but I can tell you what council process would look like. You're going to see a series of activity. Some that will be fact-finding, will be nuts and bolts numbers. Some of it that you're going to see will be public meetings and meetings with council, because and you're also going to see resident meetings and publicized meetings. So our process will be very transparent and public. At the end of that process, there will be a document that will be presented to council that will show our findings. So it will be both transparent and objective, and at the conclusion of it, tangible. And that will end our process, and then the rest will be up to the bride to decide if they're still interested.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.